What's up, Gabe?
Hey there, Ian. Hello, loyal viewers and listeners, and welcome to the newest episode of Blank as a Fart.
Blank as a fart.
Blank as a Fart. Today we are covering the season 2 premiere of Twin Peaks. This is a wild one, folks. It's a double big episode. This one was directed by Lynch himself, so you know shit's going to get weird.
Indeed.
Indeed. What's your quick take on this week's episode there, Ian? Like in a nutshell, what's your summary? Oh no. He's at a loss for words, folks.
I'm just gonna say, I don't know. I don't. I like the finale better. Season 1 finale better. Anyway, this is
everybody's got a preference.
this is a collection of marbles. You know, it goes places all over. It's like you spill those marbles. It's just. Whew.
I think that's a pretty apt analogy. I like that. That's the way a lot of Lynch's work is, you know. Sometimes he follows that marble for a long way after it spills out of that initial mess.
Dude, it opens on a random marble and just goes, you know? Just goes.
It does. You want to do any quick shout outs or?
I don't really have any housekeeping. Just thanks everyone for their continued support. You can find us, we're Blank as a Fart. You can find us on all the podcast platforms. You can also find us on youtube.com/milkmanpictures if you want to watch us, because we're sexy beasts. And no, let's just get to it.
Okay, yeah, let's do it. Well, okay. Yet again this week we pick up exactly where we left off.
No.
No?
I want to stop you for a second. The opening credit sequence is a little more elaborate with sawmill footage and then this intense stream creek that slows down with some ominous sound. There's a little bit of change there. I just wanted to point that out a little bit.
Sound design is very important in the Lynch stuff.
Yeah.
You get that especially like
I got some more.
Yeah, it's very impactful once we get to the return, too. So when you're watching episodes of the return, make sure you're listening closely.
But there was a lot of focus on the sawmill in this credit sequence, which I thought was interesting, especially with what happens to it.
Yeah, considering it's gone. But, stock footage, it's cheap.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, I did note the extended credits, too. We get a lot of the people who usually don't get mentioned until the end credits get some early billing for the episode, which, nice to see for them.
Right.
So anyway, after the extended credits, we pick up immediately where we left off, which is the aftermath of the attempted murder of Agent Cooper. Cooper is on his back on the floor. 2 bullets were visibly deflected by his bulletproof vest, but the third shot landed in his lower abdomen, and it's causing him to bleed profusely. The first person to find him in this state is an elderly bellhop who is bringing him his glass of warm milk, oddly oblivious to Cooper's plight.
I don't even know what to say.
Do you want me to describe the whole scene before we get your take on it?
Yeah, just do it.
Okay. Cooper's request for a doctor seems to go unheard as said elderly bellhop hangs up the phone, where we can still hear Andy trying to get his attention on the other end. Bellhop continues on as if nothing is amiss, and Cooper, paragon of virtue that he is, takes the time while he's potentially bleeding to death to ensure that the gentleman receives a tip for his service. This part, this was a meme before memes were memes. I've heard about you.
Dude.
And then he makes his exit. Or does he?
No, like
but then he
4 times?
Does he? 3 times he comes back. with a thumbs up. And then that last time, you'll notice Cooper doesn't return it. He does like the little finger wag or something like that.
My comments here.
Yeah.
There's a lot of comments.
Yeah.
First of all, what the fuck? But that's fine. Okay, we get it. Is this funny? Not to me, but maybe to young Gabe it was.
To 12-year-old Gabe, it was fucking hilarious.
And then
it was just because it was so out there. Like, keep in mind, I was also like just discovering Monty Python at this point.
Right. Gotcha.
So like visual non sequiturs, that tickled me. That
Right.
stuff would get me, and my brother too. So both of us just like for months and years afterward, we'd just catch each other in the hall and I've heard about.
I guess this is really,
Did you see that? It gave a thumbs up.
I did.
That was weird.
I don't know if that's voice activated.
No, I think it was thumbs up activated. Oh, you're not. Get your full hand in the camera there.
Oh, I think it's your camera because I'm not on a phone.
Oh yeah,
do it
I'm
again.
on the iPhone.
Oh, it didn't do it. Oh,
not that time. I have to go to this side of the screen.
Oh, there it is.
There it goes. Yeah.
Oh, interesting. That's funny.
Wow.
How Lynchian.
Yeah.
No, so I said, I guess room service kills Coop. That was my joke.
Yeah.
But there, aside from the weirdness of this scene and how it kind of plays out, there's a continuity error. When he's signing the bill, the pin isn't open. It's like closed, so he's like just kind of scraping it with the pin not being out of, because it's one of those clicker pins. I thought that was kind of funny. And then, I mean, I don't know. This is just so stupid Lynch. This is very dumb Lynch. And just like him, I was just like, whatever.
Like I said,
right. This is how we're going to start. I honestly thought it didn't play out this way. But I thought it'd be funny if like Coop just spends the entire episode on his back. Like, I was thinking like, we're gonna be here most of the time. Then maybe he'll be in a hospital bed, and then he'll be in bed, and he'll do all these cool, investigative work on his back in bed. He'll be doing more than the cops do,
right?
But just from a bed. But that didn't happen. Well, I almost wish that did happen, Gabe.
He does spend like what the first.
He does. 15, he does.
20 minutes on his back.
That's why I started thinking about it. I was like, is Lynch gonna just keep him on his back the entire time? But
maybe.
Anyway.
Right. Yeah. Then the exit. Oh,
you know what I was also thought it was funny, and then I would have done, and then no one would have ever found it. It's like finally the third time, this room service closes the door. Because he never closes the door. No, so anyone could walk by and see him. But
just laying there. But no, that's not what happens. Instead,
we have a vision.
Instead, a towering and well-dressed giant appears out of thin air.
Of course.
Why not? Because of course. Big dramatic shift of lighting as he appears. Telling Cooper to think of him as a friend, the giant informs him that he will tell him 3 things. 1, there is a man in a smiling bag. 2, the owls are not what they seem. And 3, without chemicals, he points. The giant takes Cooper's ring and promises to return it once all 3 things have come true. He then implies that he's not acting alone before proceeding to tell Cooper a couple more things. Leo locked in a hungry horse, and that there is a clue at Leo's house. And then we get another just classic, joke Lynch line. You will require medical attention. No shit, giant. No shit. And poof, he vanishes. He's gone. More supernatural stuff.
I, it is what it is. I didn't write any notes. It's like, sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
More Lynch stuff.
Sure.
But
I think it's more.
this is
Oh,
where
go ahead.
like our supernatural exposition is starting to come in here.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
This is like where we're passing beyond just the realm of the human investigation.
Right.
So then we cut back to our other big cliffhanger at One-Eyed Jack's.
Wait.
Wait, more notes on this spot?
No, you're good. We're good. Sorry.
Yeah. Honestly, when I was getting ready to watch this cut surprised me too. I had always thought all of the action with Cooper on the floor
was done
happened unbroken.
Right.
But we do, and it's really brief too. It's like what, 2 minutes, maybe 3 minutes is all we get before we cut back to Cooper.
It's literally why I thought, is he going to stay on his back the entire time? Because we cut back to him,
and
we couldn't have just done this.
If Lynch had his way, they wouldn't have made this cut. Like this was a cut that was forced on him by the network, because they're like, you can't keep everybody waiting 25 minutes before we find out what happened to Audrey.
We got to cut to the little flower room.
That's right. We've got to find out,
Or deflower room.
Oh, yeah. Oh, boy. Anyway, Ben Horn is unknowingly approaching his own daughter, trying to get it on. Audrey holds the curtains of the bed shut and swats at her father's hands, while in the owner's office, Jerry torments a clearly strung-out Blackie. Eventually,
we didn't know.
A small bag of heroin on his way out. Yeah, this is a pretty sudden development.
Right? All of a sudden.
As was Blackie's southern accent later in the episode. Did you notice that? Well, that's a scene that comes in later, but she develops a southern drawl all of a sudden.
It's just like there were choices that were made, like we're going this direction now.
I mean, Blackie didn't really have a lot of depth to her, so this adds something.
I thought it was cool that she was the cool cat house mama. She didn't need a drug habit.
Nah, I don't know.
Go ahead.
Yeah, it does seem. Yeah, I'm not sure what kind of. I mean, we'll find out later, but again, it's hard to have these discussions on these aspects of the story when I know where they lead and you don't.
Right.
So,
I don't. Right.
Anyway, Audrey finds some clever ways to be evasive and hide her face from her father as he gets increasingly rapey. Before a fantastic stroke of luck befalls her, and that Uncle Jerry needs his brother's immediate attention, presumably to deal with their smacked out madam.
Yeah,
vowing...
Oh.
No, go ahead.
Oh, so I was going to say, like, it's just, not only is it creepy, it's just this, I wrote, this is fucked. This is really fucked. But at least she knows now how awful her dad is, Like she's like,
this is an eye-opening
aware,
experience for Audrey.
Like what an awful person her father is.
Yeah.
But yeah, holy shit, is it gross.
Yeah, and this was network TV in the very early 90s.
I feel like the whole Audrey, most of the show is kind of whimsical and weird. Anything with the Audrey stuff currently in her situation is like, ooh, this is dark and rough.
Yeah. And I will warn you, it does get worse before it gets better.
Oh, really? Holy shit.
Unfortunately,
yeah, so
she got in way over her head.
I will say
it's
funny how Jerry's kind of fucking with Blackie and he like pulls out the sack of dope and gives it to her, and then her acting of like, what it's like to be a dope fiend is like
to be a dope fiend.
Just kind of like
yeah.
It's just so
almost like Chappelle being.
She doesn't even look like it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just funny.
Got any more of that heroin?
Yeah.
Anyway. We don't typically see a dark side to Jerry. This is one of the few instances where we get that. Mm-hmm. Jerry often serves as comic relief.
Right. I think he's being this is trying to be comic relief here, but he's
in a dark sense.
Creepy.
But yeah, I mean, also like, I mean, I don't think he would do this to an innocent character. I mean, Blackie is clearly a character that's deserving of that level of scorn, particularly in the state that she's in there.
I wanted to make a joke when you hear Jerry through the door and he goes, "We hit a SNAG," so like a snag. So I was trying to come up with a joke where it's like, "Oh, Ben Horn snatched, but not the snatch he wanted because he got snagged." I don't know. I was trying to come up with something awful. I
Something
couldn't.
awful.
I couldn't work.
That's
Couldn't work
close
the wordplay.
enough to put the picture in everybody's
right?
head, I think. Yeah. That gets the ball rolling. The rest of us that are, capable of extrapolating will take it from here. Anyway, dirty old Ben vows to find a new game to play with the new girl the next time they meet. And he really does take his sweet ass time making his exit from that room, just adding to the creep factor the whole time.
I mean, she's fucking hot, but that's disgusting.
That's dude. Yeah.
I mean, we know what's going on.
Yeah. I mean, you kind of wonder what his reaction would be had Audrey shown her face in that case. And yeah.
But I would have loved to been Ben's horn in that situation. Jesus Christ.
Oh.
Censored. Cut.
And you wonder why our one fan
canceled
likes me more than you.
Well, I didn't say anything weird.
Nothing weird. Nothing weird at all. Back in Cooper's room as he's drifting in and out of consciousness while the sun rises. Man, how far away is Leo's cabin? He uses the voice-activated tape recorder to dictate to Diane, explaining that he had folded up the lower part of his bulletproof vest to try and get at a wood tick.
Oh my God.
That's, rural living for you.
Some of this exposition is just... It happens more and more in this episode particularly, but it's just like, oh, what? So random.
It is kind of random, but it also kind of makes sense.
Does it? Gabe, I mean, are you apologizing?
Suck, man.
I think you're apologizing.
Maybe a little bit, but hey, that's the role I serve in this show, right?
Indeed. Then the Charlie's Angels show up.
Oh, yeah, strike that pose.
That's what I saw.
And I can totally see it, too. Because Andy doesn't even have his gun out, right?
No, but he kind of peeks.
Like that.
I bet you 100% that was Lynch's direction. Just Charlie's Angels, this scene.
Yeah, he's a 70s guy, right? He sees the humor in that. But yeah, he uses the voice-activated tape recorder to dictate to Diane. We read that part. He comes up with a wonderful analogy for his pain, and he optimistically remarks that getting shot isn't so bad as long as you can keep the fear from your mind. He mentions that it's true of pretty much all things. Fair enough.
Right.
Cooper takes a second to notice that his ring has legitimately gone before going over, pretty white-collar bucket list and a few regrets, ending, of course, with a visit to Tibet as a final wish before the Charlie's Angels cavalry finally arrives with their guns drawn. And what do you think about the monologue? No?
Yeah, that's all I had. I didn't really have...
Yeah, I don't really think it expounds on Cooper's character at all. It gives Kyle MacLachlan a chance to flex his muscles a little bit, which is fun to watch. I never get tired of that. It looks like you got a little tired of it, but I didn't.
It was just what it is. It's like, I don't know.
It's very Lynch. It's very Cooper. If you're into the show, it's going to get the hooks in deeper.
I didn't write any notes after the Charlie's Angels thing. I was just like, yeah, they're just...
Yeah.
It's just being Twin Peaks. It's just being Twin Peaks.
I do really like the cut that we get to Cooper's point of view here. This is something you don't see very often, where you get that stretched point of view that eventually narrows into focus. What would you call that in filmmaking terminology? What is that shot?
Well, that's just kind of it's kind of like a rack focus, but not really. It's like because you're just kind of because the lens is in focus and you're just changing perspective, kind of like it's going from like a wide to a narrow.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is really.
It was one that was one that stuck out for me in the very beginning, where I was just like, this is so weird. Like never seen anything like this on television before. And I watched a lot of TV as a kid. And I turned out TV. We get to Cooper's point of view from the surgeon's table, where he's regaining consciousness after Doc Hayward pulled a bullet out of him that still somehow had an intact wood tick attached to it. I didn't really buy that gimmick on this viewing.
Yeah, I was like, what?
That should just be part of the meat that was obliterated in Cooper's guts, but ticks have that exoskeleton. I guess they can take a slug at 3 feet. But it was
I think it's funny the operating room in this hospital is so dark. It's like the morgue. You know?
Yeah. And why is Doc Hayward the one pulling this bullet out of him? Like, is there no surgeon on duty at the hospital? Like, no. Is Doc Hayward legitimately the only doctor in Twin Peaks?
I have some other shit later on about because there's a big hospital sequence later on in the episode, but I have some
there's
more.
There's several hospital sequences.
Yeah, there's more episode. I have to talk about that.
About
the hospital setup and dressing.
Yeah. Lots of gags. Lots of hospital-related gags.
I wouldn't even think there were gags.
Well, at least one of them was.
But yeah.
Cooper confirms to Truman that the gunman was masked before Lucy fills him in on current events. And I quote, Leo Johnson was shot, Jacques Renault was strangled, the mill burned, Shelley and Pete have smoke inhalation, Catherine and Josie are missing, and Nadine is in a coma from too many sleeping pills.
Great.
This was all in one
great exposition. Night. You know what's cool about Lucy in this episode? She's wearing that fucking pink lipstick, and none of the other girls are.
Yeah.
She's the only one wearing it. I thought it was weird. I don't know. Anyway, I just
Lucy is a very different woman from all of the rest of the women we see in Twin Peaks.
But not. Because then she's wearing it. So, like, there's something... I don't understand it. I'm curious about... I would love to talk to Lynch about the lipstick. Or Mark Frost. Whoever.
I bet you there's a Reddit thread we could follow that
about explores
that. Oh, yeah, I'm sure. God. Dude, I ran across this page while I was doing research for this week's episode that had, like, some deep dives on characters. Like... Here are the top 30 characters that have less than 90 seconds of screen time.
Oh, wow.
It's like, holy shit. And like it's still incomplete. Like they haven't gotten to the meat of the articles they planned.
They definitely got to everybody on this episode, for sure.
Yeah, you get to see everybody, I think. Except for Leo.
Except dead
Leo.
You
don't get a look at Leo.
You get a flashback, but you don't get dead Leo.
Yeah, we get... but we don't see his current state. We get a verbal confirmation of it, which that he is alive, comatose, and potentially brain damaged.
But he was always brain damaged.
Yeah, he was never all that sharp to begin with, Not a real thick layer of varnish that got stripped off of that dresser.
10-4.
Anyway, Cooper bravely or foolishly defies doctor's orders to get back up on his feet and get back at the case. Broken ribs and torn cartilage be damned. We get a long scrolling shot of the devastation at the mill before we get our very first on-camera creator cameo. That's right. That is Mark Frost playing the reporter in the red glasses on the TV screen in Shelley's hospital room.
I was wondering
if
that was someone important.
If it was a cameo of someone. Yeah. So, that's Mark Frost.
Cool.
And I'm pretty sure that's the only appearance he makes, but I can't confirm that for sure. We might see him later on. Who knows? But yeah, the TV screen is in Shelley's hospital room. She is scared and alone, and she has no notion of what's going on with Bobby or Leo or their fates at this time. So that's just a feel bad for Shelley moment right there. And we do, Shelley's a very relatable character, I think. She's one of the more realistic people in Twin Peaks.
I felt nothing.
That's because you're a goddamn sociopath.
Not true. Did you see X-Men 97 this week?
No, I still haven't yet. I've had the event spoiled for me.
Go ahead. Oh, did you? Oh,
and all it took was like a headline. I was like, oh, a Bruto Wolverine event. I'm like, yeah, I know exactly what the fuck that is.
Anyway. Continue on.
On the way out of his hospital room, Cooper notices Jacques Renault being wheeled out in the body bag and wonders aloud if that bag is smiling. Long, slow pan up on Ronette Pulaski's bed to her face. We see a couple of quick flashbacks and some movement indicating perhaps she's coming to. Might we see another witness?
Might we?
Not just yet, anyway, as it's time for morning coffee at the Palmer household.
Oh my God! This scene is a scene. Oh God!
This is a lot to take in. Maddie is another character who seems to be making just some random changes in this episode. She seems pretty distracted as she's telling Sarah about a very specific dream she had the night before. This exact view of the carpet.
She's looking at the carpet. She seems very agitated by the carpet.
She seems high as fuck is what she seems. She seems like she smoked a whole doobie to herself for the first time and she's too high to handle it.
Do you know some kind of insider knowledge about...
No, I've been that high and unable to stare at anything besides the carpet before. Not necessarily around my aunt at the time, but...
Let's just get to the...
we
get to see Laura's mom. We haven't seen her in a while. We didn't see her in the last few episodes of the last season. True. And her hair is really froed out.
Oh, man.
But if you... Yeah, exactly. That's just a precursor.
Poor Sarah needs some serious conditioner.
Just some precursor to the real hair. The real hair.
Yeah. The real hair. Leland makes his entrance, singing Mersey Dotes at a rapid tempo and sporting a new look. His hair has gone completely white overnight. Can you name another instance of this happening in a horror-themed story?
No, I'm not a horror guy.
This similar circumstance also happens in Pet Sematary.
Oh, see, I'd never seen that. But thank you for letting me know.
Yeah, I wrote... Also, it happens in the book as well.
I wrote Leland's new hair and apparently happy now that he's a killer.
Right? He's murdered his way to...
Because he's singing. He's just like, he's fucking happy.
Right? He's got justice for his daughter. What more does he need at this point, right?
Right.
So a concerned Sarah follows Leland out the door before Maddie gets a vision of a big fat trail of blood across that section of the carpet that she dreamt of and promptly freaks the fuck out. Can't blame her. Never really had a vision like that myself before, but I don't imagine it would freak me out pretty bad.
Well, what I think is cool is that the kind of the marking on the carpet mirrors the next scene, the fireplace. So like if you look at the carpet and how it kind of flames up, and then when it transitions into the fireplace, the fire's also kind of like that. Because it dissolves, it goes away, but it dissolves, and then the sound does some more sound design, some classic Lynch kind of eerie.
Yeah.
So I thought that was kind of a cool transition, like something you wouldn't see back in TV back then. Maybe nowadays you would, but back then,
no,
you would
that
just
was
cut.
definitely a theatrical touch there.
Yeah.
But yeah, to the office where Ben and Jerry are plotting to tie up the loose ends from the previous evening's illegal activities. Before things start to get absurd, as Leland shows back up to work and inspires a very theatrical dance number. The dancing is what struck me in this one. Now, here's something I noticed on this viewing: is once the Horn brothers start dancing, Leland almost starts laughing. And I think that might be Ray Wise almost breaking character. I don't think he was told about the direction that Lynch gave the Horns to start dancing. Because, Ben is full up on his desk doing the tap. Jerry's doing the worm on the floor. Yeah, I don't think that Ray Wise was expecting that and had to take that in stride.
I think when it started happening, I was like, okay, this is just more of that Lynch shit. It's just like, I'm not even gonna. What is this even? I'm just gonna let it go. I'm not gonna write. I didn't write anything about it. Just like whatever.
Just more Lynch shit. That's gonna be your notes for this whole episode.
No, I got great notes. Are you kidding? I got great notes that have nothing to do with Lynch shit.
But all the Lynch shit, which makes up a lot of this episode.
All the Lynch shit, I didn't write notes for. I just put it in my head. Lynch shit.
Bank that for later. Now we're into Shelley and Leo's living room, which is now a crime scene. Cooper is pretty quickly piecing together the previous evening's events in the room. He's not quite sure who Leo was attacking. He just knows that it wasn't Shelley because she wasn't big enough to have knocked that TV askew.
They're looking for coke.
They are looking for coke. Hawk displays the evidence he's found. No cocaine yet. But he found some copies of Flesh World and Leo's Duster, which reeks of gasoline. Flesh World and gasoline. So yeah, Harry pretty quickly figures out, the mill.
Guess who shows up?
Not a secret anymore. One of our favorites. It's our boy Albert. God, I love Albert. He's one of my favorite parts of the show.
And he's great in this one. He's great in this one.
He is one of the best reasons to watch this episode, for sure. But yeah, he and the rest of the FBI contingent roll up to the scene. In his haste to inform the sheriff of Albert's arrival, Andy comically steps on a loose floorboard and smacks himself in the face.
I put Andy does a straight up slapstick routine. Just straight out of Looney Tunes, bro.
Straight Three Stooges, and he's the only actor in the cast that could really pull something like this off.
Does he pull it off?
I think so.
At the first he does,
Andy is
but after Andy, the way he's like kind of.
It was so two-dimensional,
so bad.
Though.
Come on, Gabe.
He is, and that was Oh
my God, you love this show so much.
Yeah, be goofy after he gets hit in the head with a frying pan,
But lo and behold,
right, he serendipitously uncovers the cocaine they've been looking for, as well as a brand new pair of boots.
It's so funny. It's funny. It's more funny to me now than it was when I was watching. It's like, oh God.
Do you think it would have been funny to you if you'd have been watching it with somebody?
No.
No?
Maybe when I was a
cracked up,
kid,
like, watching it?
It was not funny. And the way he looks at the camera, like he's in on it, kind of. I'm watching it and I'm just like he knows, but then he's still acting stupid. I don't know. I don't buy it. I get what Lynch is doing or trying to do. It doesn't work for me.
There does. Despite the heavy material we get in this episode, there also is a lot of comic relief and a lot of levity in this one.
Yeah. I point that out later too. 100%.
But, maybe it's needed because
maybe.
Yeah, because we deal with some heavy shit in this one too. We move on to the double R, where we briefly get a shot of a random diner loudly declaring his love of the pie before Maddie and Donna rendezvous to tie up the loose ends from their previous evening's illegal activities. A lot of that going around today.
Before we go further,
Mm.
here's another, not necessarily transition, but a scene you wouldn't see in TV back then. So they show the cafe, and then they have this lumber truck drive by the cafe, like the sign.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very cinematic kind of establishing shot that you would not.
Instead of just a still shot.
Right, just like
Yeah.
bam, and then cut in. It's like you get the cafe, then this truck drives around
Yeah.
the
No, it gives it.
mill, wood, but not, I don't know, because the mill's not there anymore, so it doesn't make a lot of sense there. But
Oh, dude,
it's
they're
just
still in
cool. It's a great
Washington.
shot,
Yeah.
So,
And I think part of what the double R survives on is like they're near a highway,
yeah,
perhaps,
sure.
relative to a logging route. So
But I like that shot. So,
yeah, good touch. Makes it feel like a living, breathing place. Maddie provides Donna with a requested pair of Laura's old sunglasses before declaring her hatred of her own spectacles and subsequently destroying them to Donna's amusement. Donna confirms to Maddie that James spent the night in jail and that as long as they both stay quiet, everything's cool. Maddie tells Donna about Leland's hair before Norma delivers to Donna a note for her that was left at the double R for some reason. All it reads is "Look into Meals on Wheels."
yes.
And then we get our log lady cameo of the week, sitting back in the corner booth, chewing pitch gum, spitting it out, and sticking it to the wall, and drinking from one of Ian's hated coffee mugs.
Okay, hold on a sec. You noticed I love that. So we're gonna go back a little bit.
Yeah.
My first question is, why is Donna smoking all of a sudden?
Oh, yeah, I did not
Now,
mention that.
we're gonna get to it later, which I think is
Mhm.
hilarious. But I
Yeah.
was like, initially, it's like, wow, she's trying to act old, and I'm like, what's
I
going
do have a
on?
theory about this,
Well, I do
and
too. I do
we'll get,
too. I
and
do
we're
too.
probably on the same page, but yeah, we'll
Probably.
get to that later on, probably after the jailhouse scene, I'm
But I
assuming.
love because she's so innocent, and then she's like in the last season, and then she's like this grown woman, and she's smoking cigarettes, and then yeah,
Mm-hmm.
the log lady, and it's not the only appearance of the cocktail coffee cup.
No, we do
It
see
shows
it.
up again, but yeah, I was like,
I
what
swear to
the
you, I've
fuck?
drank from one of those before
What the
at
fuck?
some
I was
point in
like,
my life.
there's other there's multiple episodes of the basic bitch coffee cup, and then every once in a while these ones make an appearance. I'm like, is that a Lynch thing? Probably.
Maybe
So I thought it was funny.
we'll have to watch for which episode has which coffee cup. We'll keep a little tally with the appearances or something.
I guess
But yeah, we'll do the coffee cup contest. We'll keep a tally of.
that means I have to
And
watch it again.
I would have to undertake that, wouldn't I? Oh, I'll
Hey,
have to think about that.
listeners, do that work for
Yeah.
us.
Anybody that hasn't done the first few episodes already, go back and watch them again. Because I've watched them all twice already. I don't want to do it a third time. I really could just skip to the diner scenes and just take a minute.
Oh, just
I
do
don't know.
that.
We'll
There's
see how
that.
bored I get this weekend. I don't know. The weather's
You
going to be
don't
really
have
nice,
to.
and I
You don't
got
have to
shit to
do
do.
that. You don't have to do that.
Like
I just think
we'll
it's
see.
interesting. There's two different sets of coffee cups at this diner. So that's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, it doesn't seem unusual to me.
And I don't
But
hate them.
spent a
I don't
lot of
hate
time at
them. I just
random
think they're
coffee
weird.
houses in my
I
youth.
just think I just think they're weird. They're different. They're not like a
They are
classic diner cup.
different. No, they're not. You expect that, just white, flat bottom,
Right. Which they
generic,
have in all the episodes when Lynch is a
occasionally
part of
with
it.
a saucer.
Right.
But, maybe it's a 70s thing. I'm not sure.
It's not the 70s.
No, it's not. But Lynch has, he has an obsession with the past. And he brings a lot of that aesthetic into his work. Or it could even be a 50s thing, because he's definitely more about a 50s.
Okay,
60s.
that's fine, Gabe. But when he's not directing, why does someone else say?
I swear to you, we're gonna find.
Fuck the Lynch cups.
That's what I'm saying. Is it's not just Lynch. We're gonna find an episode somewhere down the line with the weird coffee cups, and Lynch is not going to be behind it. I promise. Or not. We'll see.
I hope the next episode, directed not by him, has regular coffee cups.
Yeah. Back at the sheriff's station, Rosenfeld is giving Cooper a quick physical examination, explaining his presence was ordered by Gordon Cole, because when a member of the Bureau gets shot, the Bureau investigates. Simple as that. Albert confirms that the shooter was of short to medium height, and that he'll have more details later this afternoon when ballistics comes back. And he comes in to inform Cooper that he's actually solved one of the Giants' riddles. As it turns out, there's a town in Montana named Hungry Horse, and Leo Johnson was in prison there on the night that Teresa Banks was murdered. That would seem to indicate that Leo is not the guy that we're looking for, despite his presence on the night of Laura's murder.
It's also fun because Albert is just being a dick. He's being a dick to the cops.
I don't think he's as bad this time.
He's pretty bad through the entire show.
He's always been abrasive, yeah, but like initially it was like he was just pissed to be there.
I guess.
Like
even Coop,
he's a city boy. Even
Coop is really against it. He's like,
yeah,
fucking, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Noticed it first. And yeah, let's keep in mind that like we are maybe 9 days since Laura's murder at this point. You know, just over a week has passed in the relative time frame here. So yeah, this is Albert's second time out in like probably 4 days, 5 days, or no, it would be a week for him since he was out like the day after.
Did you mention that Albert's doing like this physical on Coop?
Well, yeah, I mean he's a medical doctor,
and he's like,
he was there to do.
It's a slug, blah blah blah. I know this, I know that. I'll have the ballistics at the end of the day. He's like he's a smart motherfucker.
He is, yeah. And remember, he was brought in to work on the autopsy. That was his original purpose that he served. Philip Gerard, the one-armed man, makes an unexpected visit to the sheriff's station, telling Lucy he's there at the Truman's invitation to sell him some shoes. Then he makes a very creepy and weird robotic turn to head into the waiting room. That one got me. That was something I didn't notice until this viewing, but that creeped me out, and I think that was intentional.
I thought the whole thing was weird.
He seemed pretty genial at first, but then once he turns, then it seems like
really
like something else is moving him, like some he's just kind of an odd dude in general, but
even when he's talking about like I'm here to like sell some shoes or whatever, that seemed really weird and forced. Like
it bizarre. Just seemed awkward to me.
It was weird.
It just kind of seemed like, I'm here to sell the sheriff's shoes. Chucky darn.
Totally normal, Gabe. Totally normal.
But then when he makes that turn, then it's like the weird staring eyes. Something else is going on.
I would have killed him before you, basically.
Probably, yeah. Your spidey sense was tingling a little earlier than mine, I guess. In the interrogation room, Harry and James are listening to the tape of Laura found in Jacoby's office. James tells Harry most of the truth without managing to implicate Donna or Maddie in the shenanigans. Harry tells James he knows he was trying to do the right thing, but he can't necessarily protect him from the consequences of breaking the law. Even if it was like...
This is funny because... Obviously, Bobby put the coke in his tank. It wasn't him. Right. And the sheriff's like, yeah, he agrees. He doesn't but he just agrees. It's just
hey, man, they're Bookhouse boys, you know?
I know, but
they got to trust.
It's funny. It's just, I don't
know.
It's
not your typical police procedural, yeah.
Right? It's just like, yeah.
That's the kind of small town shit.
Clearly.
Like, you know, I could see that happening like in an old Western or something, where like
Yeah.
the
No,
sheriff's
100%.
buddy
Yeah.
had to spend the night in jail and they're having this conversation. Like that's kind of like the vibe I get from this, from Twin Peaks as a whole. Is like it's a Wild West town out in the middle of nowhere that kind of has its own physical and spiritual environmental bubble that weird shit happens in.
Another note I didn't write down but noticed was
Mm-hmm.
the sheriff isn't wearing his weird plaid coat, but he carries it around a lot. He has it with him. He walks around
Yeah.
with it. He has it. He carries it or folds it. He just
Well,
looks like a
dude,
Ghostbuster most of the time.
with the jumpsuit on, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, keep in mind it is like early March in way northern Washington,
But
so
it's funny that he has it. It's just, I don't know. It's a weird
it's his totem, you know.
Dave
It's like
Lynch,
Leo's
dude.
duster
Old Dave Lynch.
or Eric Draven's trench coat.
Yeah, right? They keep calling me.
Oh, dude, did you see the pictures for the new one?
Oh, I don't want to.
Leaping off topic.
Let's not even get on that.
For just a moment.
They're re-releasing the original in theaters, though.
Are they?
Yeah, for a
Oh,
day.
we might
Yeah,
we might have
one of
to
these
make
weekends.
an appointment to go seeing that. Is that like a Fathom Events thing?
Yeah. Like everything else, they've been doing a lot of re-releases lately. But anyway,
moving on. Now James moves on and says something very strange. He tells Harry that he doesn't think the mystery man was Leo at all. He thinks it was someone else entirely and mentions some of the weird shit that Laura used to say, like a scary poem about fire. And the phrase, "Would you like to play with fire, little boy? Would you like to play with Bob?"
I have no comments. I don't have enough information.
Right? This is just a teaser right now. This is breadcrumbs. One stone at a time, as the giant might say later. Cooper arrives and demands the other half of the necklace from James, saying he knows he has it. James, being a good kid, quickly turns it over, tells him exactly where he found it. Cooper still seems kind of skeptical of James, obviously has his doubts about him, but he just lets Hawk take him back to his cell before he lets Harry knows that he was actually just totally bluffing about the necklace and just got lucky. Weird tactic from Cooper. Usually he's doesn't gamble like that. Well, I guess he does gamble. He's pretty good at gambling too, we've discovered, so maybe that's just more of that.
There will be swaths of this, Gabe, that I just didn't write anything. I was just like, sure, okay. So
Not a problem.
This is one of those moments. You know?
Well, like I said,
It's
a lot
fine.
of motion in this episode, so I took a lot of notes here. Here we go. This is one I don't have a lot of notes on.
Okay.
This is one of those just like. So yeah, Donna arrives at the sheriff's station to visit James in his cell. She seems to be losing her mind.
Nope.
Or something.
Nope. I know all of it.
Well, I know it too. The bad girl routine is kind of a weird. It seems like an abrupt choice for her right now. Like I said, I don't have anything to say except for the little bit at the end. Like there's the dumb joke about smoking. This all just seems like it's plagiarized almost from a film noir in the 50s. Some femme fatale, like crossing her legs on the PI's desk.
Sure.
That's all that I get from this. There's the little bit on the way out where she kind of like gently bites James's finger while it's hanging off the bars. I remember very distinctly that they used that in the commercials that were advertising the season premiere.
Okay.
That was the last shot they used before they cut to the logo Twin Peaks this Saturday.
So this is my take on all this. First of all, my first comment is, forget I ever asked why Donna smokes. Because they fucking they fucking answer it in this episode. You know, it's
Mm-hmm.
kind of silly, a little conversation, but it's these two people conversating in an intense way, and then I did. So I think it's funny while I'm watching it. I like the intensity and them talking, and then they kiss, and I go, "Kiss that ashtray," you know.
Right? Like right after she just
Ooh.
blows a huge cloud of smoke in his face.
But here's
Kiss
my
me, bad
take.
boy.
Here's my take on that scene. Season finale when we're listening to the Laura Palmer tape. James is really struck and probably has a Woody for how hot Laura Palmer is sounding. And I think Donna is feeding off that. And I think she's trying to kind of be alter ego, trying to be naughty, trying to be adult, trying to be Laura
Mm.
Palmer to get James. That's
Yep,
my
I
take on
100%
all
agree.
of this.
Especially after the way James
Right,
reacted when he saw Maddie in costume.
right, right,
We
right,
did see like Donna have some feelings when
right.
she saw that. So
So it's funny and weird, but the conversation is fun. They're being saucy, very film noirish through
mhm.
the cell. You know, it's kind of like, oh, this is a David Lynch scene right here in this really garbage TV show. In my
Yeah,
opinion, not everyone's opinion. I get it.
yeah,
Don't everyone attack me. But there's like, okay, she's being that kind of classic David Lynch femme fatale,
hmm,
smoking shades, and
yeah.
he's
Sultry
this
voice.
young, It's very
Yeah,
classic. You look at any of his movies, it's there. This
yeah.
is a
It's an
classic
archetype that
Lynch
he
scene.
uses all
Yeah,
the time.
all the
Yeah,
time.
all the time.
But now we know why Donna's like this. I think anyway. So
Yeah,
my takeaway.
um, yeah, and I agree 100%. Cooper amusingly sets Andy and Lucy to the task of searching through the back issues of Flesh World for any photos
Mm,
of Teresa Banks.
I wish I had them
You
all.
know what?
A collection.
Mad,
A
mad
collection of
props to
Flesh
Andy
World.
for how clearly he communicates his discomfort.
Mm,
We check in on Jacoby at the hospital where we get our first look at the quote unquote food that they're serving the patients, which
right.
is just multicolored earth tone pastes in a tub.
Okay, what? So I'm gonna stop this right here.
Mm-hmm.
The food is funny as a running joke. It keeps coming and happening, and there's actual scenes given. Like a doctor walks out and talks like someone needs to talk to the kitchen. It's just kind of funny that it's a
Yeah.
very high school Super Ninja, my shitty high school film. We would do running jokes like that through our film. So it's
It
funny.
feels like a sitcom-y thing to do.
Right, right.
And maybe that's just Lynch being like, okay, well, this is what I think TV is like. You want me to do TV? Here's TV for you. Here's a punch up. Here's a dumb one
Right,
liner.
right.
You know,
You want me to be
that's kind of,
funny?
yeah,
Fucking fucking funny.
I can be funny. Truman and Cooper arrive to interrogate Jacoby about how he came into possession of the necklace. He explains that he was trying to follow Leo when he got lost, but then he found Donna and James right after the police lost them, and he just followed them and grabbed it. He uses the necklace as a metaphor for Laura herself, explaining the whole philosophy about the divided heart and that she was leading the two lives, the good girl and the bad girl. He also states that the last time he saw her, she seemed resigned to her fate, almost willing to die. They also inquire about anything he might remember about the previous night when Jacques was murdered. Jacoby protests that he was heavily sedated, but after some prodding, he does mention that he remembers the unusual smell of scorched motor oil.
Cut to.
Cut to Bobby.
I don't
Not a
know.
surprise. I was just going to say, mention Cooper's Matter of fact, when people are getting strangled, they often void their bowels.
Sure. Right.
Were you
That's
smelling
funny.
shit? Was shit what you were smelling? Going about that very matter of factly and politely.
I guess what I was going with the cut to Bobby was that he was fucking around with James's bike.
Yeah.
Open the gas tank.
Yeah.
Not necessarily motor oil, but still like
Doing a little
a
mechanic
fumey.
work there. Yeah.
Yeah, that was like my cut takeaway on that scene, but I don't think there's any connection. It's just a red herring thing, but
Yeah. I think you might be right there. But Bobby's finally making his way to the hospital to visit Shelley. Also making a nonverbal comment about the food before
right?
waking her up with flowers. And they get so starry eyed and optimistic about the future now that Leo is finally out of the way. They actually use the L word with each other before Bobby heads out. Seems a little dumbstruck by that whole thing, doesn't he?
Here's what I wrote. Bobby took an acting class? Question mark. Fun scene. I guess. Because he keeps saying I love you, I guess.
Yeah, I guess
I
I
guess
love
I
you
love you.
too. I mean, and keep in mind, this is an 18-year-old kid, so.
No, but I did think I actually bought him acting with her this time.
Did
Like,
you?
so this is an honest from last season to this. Their scene felt actually honest. So I wanted to give him a little props for whatever money he spent to get better, because he still looks a little weird. Or maybe that's Lynch. Maybe Lynch just like, hey, settle down, stop being a fucking dumbass, and
Mhm.
well, I guess we'll find out. I don't know. Maybe you've seen this into the future. I haven't,
Mhm.
but this was way more collected, less off hinged, and he seemed like actually acting. So
Yeah, I will tell you that we are pretty much done with Bug-Eyed Bobby at this point. You won't be
okay, so
seeing.
he did reel it in.
He's a little bit more of a restrained and nuanced character this season.
Okay.
Um, if a little less interesting as a result, maybe, but you know,
Yeah,
he
but
gets he gets some meat to work with later on. I'll
all right,
say
all right.
Harry and Cooper, along with Albert, catch sight of Bobby as he's leaving while they make their way to Nadine's room to commiserate with poor Ed.
Why is
This is
Bobby
one of the more,
here?
yeah, interesting.
You know what's funny though about that scene?
What's that?
It seems because Albert makes a quick comment, and I forget what it is, but it's like he knows why he's there.
Like, but Albert's the more
Albert knows
observant
why
one.
he's there, but you
Yeah,
guys
could
don't
be.
know. It's like oh, keen investigative work from you guys or whatever. But he
Oh,
knows.
no, I just took that as a dig at Truman because Truman's like,
No.
well, he doesn't look sick.
I
He's like,
guess
oh, yeah, way to go,
I took
Sherlock.
it as Albert knew.
No, I thought he was just being shitty to Truman there.
Mm, mm,
But,
mm,
could be. Like we
mm.
said,
I'm
Albert's
gonna
a
go the other
smart guy.
direction. I'm gonna
Yeah.
fight you on this, Gabe.
You're going to apologize for Albert, huh?
No, I like Albert. I don't
Anyway.
apologize for him.
Huh. They make their way. Yeah, Ed fills Cooper in on the whole backstory. Ed and Norma were high school sweethearts, but he essentially married Nadine out of spite one weekend because Norma ran off with Hank. But she didn't even sleep with him. And now here we are 20 years later, and fucking everybody's miserable.
Wait,
Um,
you glossed over so much.
what about them like driving to Montana and shit?
No, Ed shot her eye out.
I was getting to that.
Oh, you're getting to that.
Yeah, dude. He also explains that he accidentally shot out Nadine's eye on their honeymoon when a piece of buckshot ricocheted off of a rock while they were hunting pheasant. Dude, yeah, I wasn't going to let that part go. What the fuck?
I don't know. You seem like you
You
were
got the
wrapping up.
origin story for Nadine's patch.
Hmm.
So
this is such a weird scene. Ed is smoking in the hospital. He's got like a
cigarette dangling from his mouth the whole time.
It's got ash, but it's clearly
still
a
wearing
fake
the
cigarette.
Same suit from when they went to One-Eyed Jack's.
Yeah,
probably reeks of smoke already.
He's been there already. And then if you look over Ed's shoulders in the hospital room, there's a fucking deer head decorating the. It's
I did not see that.
It's like, what the fuck does David Lynch think us PNW people are? We just live in the boonies, and so there's that. There's another one.
Maybe.
So then there's a couch in front of that window where Coop and Ed are sit down, and they're in the corner. There's just a pair of crutches just leaning against the corner, and I'm like, in a what? They would be, why? Huh? Why?
Yeah,
they're just there to let you know that it's some kind of hospital or weird. It's just like they would not be there.
Implication is that they're not actually filming in a hospital at this scene.
It's just
that they're just like there's a couple of small set pieces to try and convince you that they're in some hospital waiting room.
It's just so silly.
That this might have been added to the script after they ran out of time filming at the actual hospital.
Just like, just put those crutches there. We need something to break up the depth.
Very believable that it's a hospital.
No, it's so stupid.
Not this particular one. I agree with you, and I see where you're coming from here.
And then I think it's funny because the sheriff's like, "Hey, Albert, I'll go buy you a cup of coffee."
And they
don't go to the cafe. Yeah. They just go to the other side of the room where there's a coffee machine. And so as the story,
the whole story,
the story is unraveling, and Albert's laughing his ass off.
Yeah, Albert's facial reaction. Albert's facial reaction when Ed says that he shot Nadine's eye out. He's just like, "What?" And suddenly he perks up. He's like, "Oh, now I'm listening."
Albert's like all of us.
Yeah. Albert is like.
We're like the rest,
How can you not find this story amusing?
This is such a loaded scene.
Holy shit. It is.
It's
fun. It's a fun scene for me, even though the subject material is, a little sad.
And then after this scene, the running food gag continues. There's like some more.
Oh yeah, we get plenty of that later. Hawk brings James over to offer his support. Cooper notices that same body bag that Jacques was in earlier hanging up wide open in the utility room after being rinsed out in the shape of a smile. Definitely a smiling bag now. Oh, shit.
Yes.
My headphones have 10% remaining.
Oh, my God. Will you survive?
We're not going to make it through the rest of the... Yeah, I don't know how much time we have left. We'll see what happens after they die. But we'll keep going until then. We might have to pause recording for a little bit. A quick shot of a random doctor warning the nurse to speak to the kitchen about the food before we get Pete's comical take on it. This is another scene that always cracked my brother and I up, where he just takes the one sniff and instantly shoves the oxygen tube back into his nose and like, "Oh, give me the good air, the good air." We get the short scene of Norma visiting Shelley in the hospital. Excuse me, offering to bring her sweets. This scene passes the Bechdel test with flying colors.
Oh my God! This one scene.
Yeah, this one scene. But
it's also as she leaves, she makes another joke about the food, and then walks off.
She does. Another joke about the food. As Norma leaves, she passes poor Ed, keeping vigil by Nadine's bedside. Moving to the Double R Diner, where Bobby is making his entrance by chance, running into his father, who is there finishing a slice of pie. Expecting some tension, we instead get a very touching scene where Major Briggs explains to his son a vision, not a dream, but a vision, that he had the previous night of the two of them meeting in a house of light in a state of total contentment and then embracing as one. Pretty much, him dreaming of them together in heaven is what I gather from this.
I put Bobby daddy scene. Weird. What the fuck?
Yeah. Again, this is something that feels like it kind of comes out of nowhere. But
I wish Bob. Here's my only problem with that scene, Gabe. I wish Bobby would have just sat in the booth normally to begin with. Like, he does this lay down thing.
Yeah.
And then he sits up.
Like he's being the shitty teenager.
Just sit normally. I don't know.
You know. It's a teenager thing to do. I think it fits the character.
I don't know.
Especially, it's just, a small, shitty way to be rebellious to your parents.
As an old guy.
But, it doesn't affect the major at all.
No, right.
And again, Bobby's acting has improved
Bobby
here.
Cries.
Yeah, real tears, too. Bobby is very clearly moved as his father leaves. Phony-ass Hank offers a salute on the way out the door. Bobby and Hank catch each other's gaze, with Bobby realizing after a moment that, holy shit, that's the dude that shot Leo. Wonder what he's going to do with that information.
How TV.
How TV. We're back at the sheriff's office where Cooper and Albert are laying out all the facts of the crime as the camera pans down a long, slow table of donuts.
Holy shit, donuts. The best donuts scene so far.
And then having that juxtaposed with like some of the more disquieting imagery that you get that recurs in the episode or the whole series. It adds to the unsettling nature of it. It seems like we've got all the facts lined up except for who's that third man at the scene of the crime on the night that Laura died. They do confirm that the blood that the note was written in must belong to the killer. It doesn't belong to anybody else there. It's a rare type, AB negative, but it does match the towel that they found down the way on the tracks. And hopefully they'll learn more from forensics in Seattle. Poor soft-hearted Andy breaks down in tears at the end of the summary. When Albert mocks him, he passionately, if ineloquently, defends himself and the rest of the sheriff's office as Harry and Lucy look on with pride.
I said sure.
Sure.
It was all about the donuts.
It was a whole scene about exposition and donuts. Instead of sex like we get in Game of Thrones, we get donuts with Twin Peaks.
But props to Andy for sticking up for himself.
Hell yeah. Andy is a good guy. Gotta love Andy. We get sunset on the water. I love that shot, that establishing shot right there. That is beautiful. As Sheriff Truman is escorting Pete back to the Blue Pine Lodge after his brief stay in the hospital. We discover a note that explains that Josie went to Seattle, Pete presumes, to do some shopping. That was a weird little ominous lead up to that innocent jibe, though.
We get more to that, though.
Oh, we do. We do. Harry has to be the one that convinces Pete to prepare for bad news, as there's been no trace of Catherine since the fire.
Which clearly is not true. Because
you only know that because I blew the shit.
What?
And that's something that struck me as weird about this is like we never get any indication that the police talked to Shelley at all to try and find out like why she was there.
Right.
Who were you with? When did you and this person get separated? We never see anything that happens between Shelley and Catherine running out together and Shelley in the hospital.
The understanding is Catherine saves her and they leave. And then maybe Catherine dropped her off at the hospital or something.
Well, but remember when Pete went in, Catherine and nobody had come out yet. Like, I guess there's only that one door.
That's bullshit.
So that's what they told. That's what they told Pete when he was going in.
But Pete's stupid. Pete could be old.
Pete is kind of a dum-dum.
It has no idea what's going on.
Yeah. So anyway, but he seems to have come to terms with it. He seems to have prepared himself, and
it's like, thank God.
He laments the love that was lost, however long ago it may have faded. Truman excuses himself from yet another sob story about old love to field a phone call. This one is from Josie, coming from Secret Asian Man. We don't know who this guy is. He is in the credits as Asian Man, I'll have you know. And his
This is
identity is
basically
a total secret.
all right.
So 100%
It's basically
appropriate.
Josie's past coming to get her.
Pretty much, yep. That is what's happening here. The man is clearly stationed at the Great Northern. He declines to leave a message and hangs up instead, then immediately places a collect call to Hong Kong. Meanwhile, we get an immediate pan to the Horn brothers returning to work, obsessing over food as usual.
Yes!
This is another scene that I love. The Horn brothers walking, like, the walk and talk.
Wait,
years
Gabe.
before Sorkin pulled
Gabe,
this shit.
Don't you mean the brothers Horn?
The brothers Horn. Sure, Ian.
That's what they say. Whatever. That's what they call themselves.
The brothers Horn. I do love everybody that's greeting them with like the double Mr. Horn, Mr. Horn, Mr. Horn, Mr. Horn.
I love the brothers Horn.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna make a movie called The Brothers Horn.
We got a Horn Brothers prequel. That would be fun to watch. Where were we? Yes, they're off to the office for a meeting with Bad Boy Hank. Going over the results of the previous evening's activities, none of them seemed to think it was weird that Leo would be chopping wood indoors at night. After some initial tension, everybody decides that we're all cool.
Friends.
Yep. Haha. Everything's good.
Money was made.
And things went well. Then we're off to One-Eyed Jack's, where Blackie lectures Audrey about her lack of cooperation from the night before, her demeanor becoming ever more threatening. Meanwhile, Donna is on the phone with Norma, arranging to take over Laura's Meals on Wheels route, hoping to follow whatever trail of clues that note she received will lead to.
Yeah.
After hanging up, she heads downstairs where her family is hosting Leland and Sarah for dinner.
Oh, my God.
We get a poem reading and recital from Donna's younger sisters, Harriet and Gersten. Did you recognize Gersten at all?
Here's my note. Gersten Hayward, Alicia Witt, the redhead producer in Sopranos that tries to lure Christopher away from the mob. But
That's her.
I love that episode.
That is her.
Yeah.
Everybody loves
that.
No,
I knew. As soon as I saw her, I was like, I know that girl.
Mm-hmm.
I know that girl older, but I know that girl.
She was in David Lynch's Dune as well. She plays Aaliyah.
I'm sure she's in a lot of stuff, but I knew her.
She's in all kinds of stuff.
That Sopranos episode lives rent-free in my mind. So
Mine too. With good reason. Yes. So anyway,
I also wrote the tuxedo was a choice.
Right. Here's my big note of this scene is like Gersten has just hired help because she's still just at the piano while everybody's eating dinner. There's not even a place set for her at the table.
Oh, there isn't.
She's just there to entertain.
She's playing. She's good piano, and then at the end credits, obviously, this is a spoiler. She plays us out. You know, she's playing again. Yeah. So yeah, it's funny.
Oh, and I am officially dead on my headphones. Can you still hear me?
I can hear you.
Well, there's one still active.
Poor Gabe.
We'll see how long this lasts. I thought they were charging. Sometimes they come loose in this case.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you still.
Okay, I can hear you.
So it might just be the one. We'll see.
All right.
So the doc asks Leland about his hair, which Leland seems to feel marks a turning of the corner, so to speak, in his grieving process. He's so inspired by his newfound ability to be happy again that he decides to share it with everyone, singing Get Happy in increasingly rapid tempo until he eventually passes out.
So weird.
It is weird. Doc wakes Leland up with smelling salts, and Leland just tries to pretend that everything is
happy.
just fine.
He's perfect.
Yeah.
He's a murderer, but he's happy. He's good.
But he's happy. He's good. Cooper's in bed in his room at the Great Northern on the recorder with Diane, warning her and himself about the dangers of sleep deprivation. He suddenly seems skeptical of the giant's appearance last night, despite having investigated his riddles and noticing the missing ring. Then we cut to Audrey issuing a prayer.
Hold on a second.
Yeah.
So I was gonna be like, we could have done it. He's on his back again.
Oh yeah.
We could have done the whole episode on his back.
Yeah. Like they could have filled him in on
It
all
would
the
have been
stuff while he was
fun.
in the
It would have been a
surgeon's
fun
bed.
episode attempt. I
Yeah.
would have attempted that. David Lynch, you pussy.
There was too much for him to do in this episode, man. There
I
was
don't
no
think
way you
so.
could have
I think
gotten
we could
through
have
all
done
that
it.
in the
I
bed.
think we could have done it.
But yeah, then we cut to Audrey praying to her special agent to come and save her. As the camera pans down underneath Cooper's bed to find Audrey's
Oh,
unopened note laying
wait,
there.
cut again. Okay, hold on a second. You're switching scenes too fast. Audrey on her. So, Coop's on his back. Audrey is on her back too. She's in over her head. She's so hot though. I mean, as I watch her act by herself, still the best actor on the entire show. 100%.
Yeah, and this is really the only scene she gets besides that opening for this
She's so
episode. We
good.
don't get a lot of movement to her story.
She's fun. She's great.
But here's where I noticed a continuity error. Audrey's note under the bed.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
It's opened
when
a little bit.
no, it's unopened still.
No, but there's like isn't there like a little
Well,
like
it might not have ever been sealed to begin with.
oh maybe.
But the error I noticed is that when at the beginning, when the bellhop hangs up the phone, you can still see the note on the table there.
Well, yeah. I was like, I should have wrote that down too. Like,
Yeah. So
why is the note under the bed?
I always had it in my head that Cooper had the note in his hand when he was shot, and that would explain
he
it.
clearly
flying
puts
under
it
the table.
down
You're
in
right.
the episode.
Yeah.
So
So
it's like,
how it makes its way under the bed,
yeah,
plot hole. We'll never know, I guess. One of the Lynch things.
more whimsical vision bullshit. Cue
Right.
Lynch.
Cue Lynch. Speaking of whimsical bullshit, the giant must have heard Cooper talking shit because he returns to offer some more cosmic exposition. Cooper is totally lucid at this point, and he can't really deny that this is no hallucination now. The giant cautions Cooper not to search for all the answers at once, telling him that a path is laid one stone at a time. He tells Cooper that one person saw the third man, or three people him saw him, but only one person saw his body.
Right.
What the hell does this mean? I don't. I mean, even I don't get what the fuck he's trying to say here, and I know what everything is.
I think he's saying of the one person, two of the people that saw him are dead.
Maybe. Yeah,
I think that's what he's saying.
It seems illogical, but one person saw the third man. Three people have seen him, yes, but only one person saw his body. So,
right. So
yeah, I don't know.
Who knows?
But according to the giant, this person who saw his body is known to Cooper and is ready to talk. Oh, and one more thing. Cooper forgot something.
The note under your fucking bed, asshole.
You think?
I hope. I hope.
So now we get to our big ominous closing scene, starting with a long, slow, ominous pan down the hospital hallway, eventually arriving at Ronette's room. She seems to be slowly awakening from her coma. Her mind is flooding with images of Bob, the person that Sarah and Cooper both saw in their visions. We witness Bob commit the murder of Laura from Ronette's point of view, and the episode ends with Bob bellowing a terrifying, inhuman scream. And then we roll credits on Gersten playing some white bread boogie woogie on the piano.
I wasn't sure. I was like, all that end stuff is fine. I don't know. Is it gonna stick? I don't know. It's like
I mean, yeah, that's a pretty clear indication that the killer is Bob.
So
at least that's what Ronette saw,
and that's what Lynch is giving us. But Lynch being Lynch, I don't know.
Got to be more to it than that, huh?
Right.
Tough last few minutes to watch. I mean, that is especially for network TV. I mean,
guess
it
maybe.
seems a little
Maybe.
tame in this day and age, but for 35 years ago, that was some scary shit.
Honestly, the Audrey stuff was more intense for me. Like, someone's gonna come in here, save me. I'm gonna be taken against my will.
Yeah, as an
I felt
adult,
more
for
for
sure.
that.
Yeah, but I
Palmer's
mean,
already
for
dead. Palmer's already dead. We're kind of seeing flashbacks of it, but she's already dead.
yeah,
You
but
know, I
having to
was more
watch it
concerned.
happen was, you
I'm not
know,
concerned about Laura Palmer, Gabe. I'm concerned about Audrey. Um, here
Can
is
you still hear
my.
me talk? Because now the headphones are totally dead.
They are dead, but I can still hear you. It's kind of
Okay.
weird, but it's fine.
Yeah, it's going to be bad microphone, but we'll deal
It's
with it.
fine. Well, it's fine. My last takeaway is as a hypothesis, a synopsis, a thesis of what I think these 2 seasons of Twin Peaks means. Twin Peaks feels like the death of the 80s. When I watch it and look at it, tapes and turtlenecks and sweaters, the way they talk, diners, I don't know. It's of a time period. Lynch is calling back, but when I look at it, it's like the death of the 80s. Like, even Cooper is using a tape player to record all his shit on. The look of everybody, what they're wearing, it's the pink, the pastel of it. I know that the series pushes into the future. It's the first show that does continuous storytelling. But as a show, it feels like the death of another era. It's interesting as I watch
I
it
kind of get
now.
what you're saying. Yeah, it's kind of like marking maybe the end of like that trail of idealism that came from the 50s through the 80s up until the Reagan era.
It's interesting. It's just weird to me.
Or it's
I don't
just
know.
maybe it's exposing that, that whole era maybe wasn't all that great all along. Look at all this ugly shit that it was hiding underneath that it didn't expose.
Or it was changing. That is the change. You know? Like, this is the stuff we leave behind. And then take this into the future. You know? I don't know. But that's what I really felt this time. There's a lot of 80s shit I felt in the episode that was just like, well, we don't look like that anymore. We don't. Because it's definitely, 90, 91, 91, 92. It's definitely.
This is, 9091.
It's definitely that time period where it's like, this isn't us anymore. It's weird. Yeah. It's a weird time period.
We're evolving into something else now.
Right. And that's what this is what this feels like.
Yeah, this is 100%. The beginning of it, and then grunge kind of completes that evolution.
Right.
Into the 90s.
It's a very interesting thing.
Yeah, no, that's a cool take on it. I like that.
Anyway.
So yeah, I didn't unfortunately get a lot of trivia on this. We'll try and do some housekeeping later on. But I do want to talk about a couple of actors that get to interact in the big dinner scene at the end, and some other interacting that they do later on. So we have, first of all, Sarah, who is played by Grace Zabriskie. And then we have Doc Hayward, who is played by Warren Frost. These two actually also played a married couple in several episodes of Seinfeld a couple years later. They played the parents of George's fiancée, Susan. Probably their most famous scene is riding in the carriage that the horse-drawn carriage that Kramer operates in Central Park shortly after he fed the horse many, many large cans of expired beefaroni.
Beefaroni.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I definitely remember them from that just as much as I do from Twin Peaks. Other fun note about actor of Warren Frost, his son, his show co-creator, Mark Frost.
That's okay. I was going to write that.
Yes.
So when I saw Warren Frost in the credits in the beginning, I was like, is that related to Mark Frost? And I said, nah, I'm not going to bother with that. But
it's not just a coincidence.
All right.
Yes.
All right. Good to know.
Warren Frost is Mark Frost's father.
Put it to sleep in my brain.
Put it to sleep in the brain. So let's see here. What else is there? There wasn't much to note. This episode was broadcast September 30th, 1990. It was about a 20% household share with 19.1 million viewers watching.
Oh.
So,
had
some good numbers.
That seems pretty good.
Yeah. Especially for a Saturday night.
Oh, yeah, and it moved. This is when it moved to Saturday. Oh.
So I think it got like a 9 p.m. Since this was a double episode, I think it got the 9 p.m. slot on that Saturday. But it would eventually move to the 10 p.m. Saturday time slot, which is traditionally death for any hour-long drama.
Yeah, even worse. Bad for the show. I mean, for a show that is weird, I mean, yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know where you put it. It's a weird show.
It is. It's just
a weird show.
So yeah, not much to note here. The credits on this one. This was directed by Lynch. We have a teleplay by Frost with story by Lynch and Frost for this one.
I love teleplay.
Teleplay.
It's like screenplay, but it's TV.
It's just
television.
Like, when I see that, I'm like, okay, Frost is at the typewriter or the word processor, and Lynch is just on his back on the couch, like drinking and smoking weed and throwing out dumb story ideas.
That's how I prefer it.
No, he comes back a third time and then gives him the thumbs up again.
Hey, Gabe, when you want to write with me, that's what I do. You do all the typing, and I do all the talking. I don't have that.
I'm a pretty good typer. I do well typing.
I
wouldn't call myself a stenographer by any means, but I type pretty fast.
I could do this.
What, are you flashing our email in a place I can't see it now?
Wait, you don't hear this?
Oh, the crickets?
Yeah.
You've got a soundboard and we haven't been using it for this podcast?
Well, if you send me some sounds, I will.
Oh, yeah,
add them.
Dude, there's got to be like just an open website with a Twin Peaks soundboard. Because we got to get you hitting the I heard about you button like twice an episode.
Oh, my God. Yeah, Gabe. I'll give you 2 sounds. Send me 2 sounds, and I'll put them on the soundboard. Then I'll teach you how to use it. Then I'll teach you how to use it.
Am I able to use it from my end?
Yeah, on Discord. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. You should be able to. I've never done it for mobile. I'd have to look, but you should be able to.
Yeah, because all I've got is 2 screens right now. It's just me and you, and that's all I see.
Yeah, but if you touch on the screen, anyway, I don't want to get into this right now.
We'll do training on that later.
Yeah. I don't really, this was a rough kind of episode. Is this what the whole season is going to be?
Not this season.
Not this season. This season's going to be easy?
I wouldn't call it easy, no. But remember that a lot of this is not Lynchian up until, like, it's kind of bookended by Lynchian stuff, but a lot of the meat in the middle is mainly Frost's work.
But do you feel... I feel like the Lynch stuff kind of hamstrings it sometimes. No?
How so? Just in, like, pacing?
A little bit. Also a little bit unnecessary. I don't know. I love how tight and concise the finale of last season was. You know?
Yeah. This one definitely meandered a little more.
It's just, and it's so goofy at times. I don't know. I get Lynch having a sense of humor, but
I mean, from what I gather, we don't get a lot of goofiness in his film work. I mean, there's some stuff that you can laugh at here and there.
I think that humor exists. It's just not. It's focused on differently.
Yeah, I mean, not to the degree of like an Andy and a Lucy.
Right. Sure. I don't know.
So, yeah, I don't know. I think there are aspects of Twin Peaks where, like, I think Lynch's, like, this is one of the few projects of Lynch's where he feels like he can be positive sometimes about it and explore, like, happy sides of human nature.
Well, when you look at Lynch and his work, the only film that's really kind of funny in this way is the Nick Cage one, the Heart. What is it? Heart something. What is it? The Nick Cage one.
Oh, Wild at Heart.
Like
Nick
that
Cage.
has that kind of humor, a little bit, kind of the way they kind of deal with shit.
Yeah, and which it was created at the same time as this show, so that stands to reason.
And I get it. It's funny. It's kind of outhand. But if you look at all his other work,
yeah, like Lost Highway,
it's pretty intense.
This kind of stuff.
Mulholland, even Blue Velvet. It's just like this really intense. There might be a dark humor there.
Yeah.
But it's not Wild at Heart,
Right. Yeah, it's not what I would call levity.
Right. But there's definitely that in Wild at Heart. And I think he was playing with that a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
But
here and there, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Anyway.
Well, I feel like we get to see a lot of that in this episode. Maybe this is him just kind of like trying that glove on and seeing how it fits.
I mean, he's clearly just going for it and not giving a fuck. Like, he doesn't give a shit, honestly, ultimately.
This is him being himself. And, some would argue that was good for the series, and some would argue that it was bad for it because a lot of people were really, really confused after this episode, and they weren't sure at all what was going on.
Or maybe he's just trying to paint the whole production into a corner and said, fuck you, get out of it. And then he walks away from it and says, well, I don't give a shit. It's not my problem. I gotta just make a movie.
But then he can't stay away from it, He keeps coming back to it.
Well, you can. You can, Gabe. I don't know if you ever. I don't know how much shit you've created. I'm not trying to like talk shit right now, but when you create something, you can't walk away from it. You kind of.
What, you don't want to go back and make CGI edits to Super Ninja?
I do. There's a part of me that wants to make the third Super Ninja. It was always seen as a trilogy, you know? Hyper Ninja, Super Ninja, The Return of Hyper Ninja. Like, because I made the first two. I never made the third, There's always a part of me. Don't get on me, Gabe. Don't get on me. Don't poke me. Don't poke me, Gabe.
Hey, there's still time for passion projects, like
like Super Ninja. Yeah, Hey,
it took Lynch 25 years to come back to Twin Peaks, so
the guy who plays Super Ninja lives in like fucking Amsterdam now, so there's no way unless I recast, it's not gonna happen. That would be funny though. Anyway.
There's ways you can make it work.
I'm sure.
Yeah. I'm sure. We'll get together. We'll write a script. I'll type and you can lay on the couch and drink beer.
Yeah, right? Court my alcoholism. Yes. Anyway. All right.
Yeah, I think that's all I've got for this week.
So how many episodes First season was like what, 8, 9?
Yes, first season was only 8 episodes.
This one we have to do for how long?
This is 22 episodes. This is a full season.
Slate.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So by the time we get done with the OG series, what month
One
will
of
that
us
be?
might be dead.
Yeah, we'll be closing in on Halloween by the time we wrap with the finale of season 2.
Strap in, folks.
So
It's
yeah,
gonna
it's
be
going to be an
run.
interesting summer. Let me tell you.
It's gonna be fun.
But
It's gonna be fun.
That's when the fun really starts, is around October.
Oh shit!
Because then we get to do the movie.
Oh, the movie.
Doing the movie around Halloween is actually going to be pretty appropriate, I think.
Oh, that sounds cool.
So
with me, yeah. All right.
So yeah, that's looking a little far ahead. We've got a lot of season 2 to cover first, but we're looking forward to it. We hope you are too.
Yes.
Quick shout out to a friend of the show, Domer, who provides our theme music. The name of that song is Wiggle Dead. Woo! We love you, buddy. If you're watching us on YouTube, there is a direct link to that song there for you. Nice work there, Ian. If you're not watching us on YouTube, you can find him on YouTube or on Spotify. Domer. That's all we got for this week. So keep the fear from your mind. We'll use that as our
You're supposed to say,
shot for this
hit
season.
us up as blankasafart@gmail.com. Gabe, where's your script? Where's your script, bruh?
Blank as a fart pod. I'm all thrown off without my earplugs in, you know?
Oh, man.
We are on social media still as well. Blank as a fart on Instagram and Facebook.
I get thrown off.
To stay on
I get
Threads,
thrown
though.
off
That
when I don't
place
have a
is
butt
fucking
plug
bleak.
in. You know, I was like, oh, should I be sitting here right now? What? Oh, seems weird. Something missing? Anyway. Yes,
something's weird. So yeah, that's a wrap for us this week, folks. Keep the fear from your mind. We'll see you next Wednesday with season 2, episode 2. Take care now.
Good night.